Hello and welcome back to another episode of Infamous MCP. This is Brandon, or Mutilus on Discord.
And this is Aaron. I go by Treffinwood on Discord.
And I'm special guest Nigel. Very special guest.
You keep calling yourself special guest.
I know, exactly. I added
thought
very
we
special.
agreed on unexpected guest.
Oh, unexpected, okay.
Yeah. Welcome back for another riveting episode. As always, links in the show notes. Unfortunately, no new news today.
Is that really unfortunately? I mean, do we need news every
week?
week?
It's not totally not... didn't you guys see the Carl Morgan from Gamma post?
No? What happened?
It's not like news, but they posted the Phoenix model, and then they posted some other new stuff.
So we do have news. Most of that stuff's available in June, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I mean, the pretty sure they showed the Dark Phoenix model at Adepticon last year.
They did. There are also other models that are now previewed.
Yeah,
no, I haven't seen this at all.
Okay. Well, okay, so let's play some guessing games then first.
Okay.
So Dark Phoenix was the one we knew was coming. She'll be available in June. I'm going to try to find the post real quick. Nigel, do you have it up?
No, I'm trying to find it. I saw Carl Morgan posted it, but I can't see his post.
I can stall for time if you guys want.
Yeah, stall for time.
The important thing is to not let the audience know you're stalling for time, so I won't say that I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
All right. So, I don't know if you guys have ever watched the TV show The Blacklist.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So there's a noticeable scene. I think it's around season 8, season 9, one of the season finales in that area. There's a very definitive thing that happens, which I won't spoil. But I was under the impression, because of how final the episode seemed, that the show was over.
Uh-huh.
So I took it off my Netflix list. And years went by. I was like, yeah, that was a great show that I watched in full. And then like a clip showed up on my Facebook reel. And I was like, oh, that's cool. I've seen this show, but I did like it. So I'll watch the clip. I'm like, I've never seen this. I'm like, and it's like, the guy looks older. I'm like, did they keep making Blacklist?
Yep.
I looked up, I was like, I've missed 2 seasons. And so that has happened with 2 shows now. It's that and Blue Bloods. I had Blue Blood on while I was working because it was a decent show I could listen to in the background. And again, I missed 4 seasons because I thought the show was over. I took it off my list.
Have you seen the show Narcos?
Mm-mm.
Oh my god.
I know of it, but I haven't watched it.
Yeah, it's on Netflix. Oh my god, I can't recommend it highly enough.
Really? Is it that good?
Oh, it's so good.
I was worried because it's got Pedro in it, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I was worried that was just another one of those Pedro is famous, let's put him in a show thing.
No. This is one of the shows that made him famous, so it helped him. He wasn't quite there yet.
Yeah,
he was in Game of Thrones, but
yeah, there's the guy from Stranger Things, the sheriff guy, and he just got jammed into everything for a while. And I don't dislike him. I love him as Red Guardian.
Yeah,
and I loved him in that, but he was a terrible Hellboy. It was not good.
Yeah.
And I was like, but he just got jammed in there because he's the popular guy, so it just got shoehorned in. I did not like that. So I usually avoid those type of shows.
Yeah.
But if you really, really like it, I'll give it a shot.
Yeah, Narcos covers primarily, I think it's 2 seasons, might be 3, but it covers Escobar, Pablo Escobar, and then it covers Chapo. And they're related because Chapo takes over for Escobar when he gets killed. Is such good drama, and you can Google, you can basically Wikipedia, it's just shocking how true the show is to real. The details will blow your fucking mind, you know.
Yeah.
So anyways, it's
Chernobyl is that show for me. I really like Chernobyl.
Oh, I love Chernobyl.
And it's not completely accurate. There's some liberties it obviously takes.
Nope, it's exactly the way
exactly. There's some of the characters are completely fictional. They didn't exist.
They're amalgams of other characters
Yeah, exactly. But it is exceptionally true to the events and the spirit behind the events, which is nice.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to play a game.
Wait.
What?
What segment are we doing, Aaron?
This is a new segment called Aaron Shines His Ass.
Aaron shines his ass?
Yes.
Also abbreviates to the news.
Hey, news! Yes. News!
I think there's only one pack that's new on here. But anyway, the game we're going to play is I'm going to describe the character to you.
Oh, God.
And you're going to guess which one it is.
Please don't describe ass shining in detail.
Yeah.
Okay. Is this to the model specific or to the character? Like, are you going to visually describe the model to me?
Yes, I'm going to visually describe the model, like how I would describe this model.
Okay, I think I'm ready.
Okay, I think you're ready. Okay. Evil Magneto.
Graviton. That's the character's name.
Okay. Nope, that's not it.
Evil Magneto.
Again, I'm judging this based off the sculpt, not anything about these characters because I don't know any of them.
Are you just talking about the Brotherhood box? Because we know about that one.
No, he's one of the new guys. He's saying looks like Evil Magneto.
Yeah.
But is it Mastermind?
No.
Okay.
Because it's technically it's Lady Mastermind, so it couldn't be Evil Magneto.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So Avalanche?
Probably, yes.
Okay. So, but we knew that box was out. We've seen the models.
Yeah.
before.
Okay. Fine. So
wait. You think Avalanche looks like it's Exodus?
Oh, is that Exodus?
Exodus. Yeah, Exodus is the character. Yeah. Exodus is actually a pretty cool character that Parker told me, but I had no idea who that was either. But yeah, that's been out for months and months.
I know. Okay,
that's
so
just somebody thought it was new.
Yeah. Well, no, I knew the box had been. I knew the names had been previewed. Okay.
More importantly, we had not talked about it yet because we had the embargo against talking about spoilers or I guess teasers rather than news.
Okay, so I believe there's one box that is new. Is that right, Nigel?
It's not news from like in text. We knew the characters. I think we were aware that the characters were coming.
Did we? I didn't know.
I think so. I remember specifically.
I knew one of them.
Three. Yeah.
So Evil Hawkeye.
Bullseye.
No.
That is who Evil Hawkeye is.
Okay.
So you say visually they look like Hawkeye, not?
Oh, I think they're actually Evil Hawkeye.
I would say Sub-Zero.
Looks like Sub-Zero.
Yeah, we can do that.
Shredder. I don't know.
Looks like Shredder.
Close.
Yeah,
you're close. You're in the ballpark.
And I haven't said the name already.
No.
You're not doubling back on Avalanche. Okay.
No.
He's a lone
looks
wolf.
Like Hawkeye. Oh no.
He works alone. He's not actually wolf based.
Okay.
Don't.
Works alone.
Is
it like Coyote or whatever the fuck?
It's like a samurai that works alone.
Nigel's just spoon feeding him now.
We got it. That's the way it works. You get
Silver Samurai. Samurai that works alone. I probably just don't know this character.
A samurai that doesn't have a leader.
It's a Ronin.
Yeah. There we go.
But
Ronin is the correct answer.
About? Ronin is the name of the character?
Yeah.
Who the fuck is that?
That's for Parker to answer. I don't know.
Okay. Well, who do they come with?
Well, we're going to talk about that. Hold on. The other people is going to be, I would describe this as Kraven's wife.
White Tiger.
Ooh, close. Kraven probably doesn't have a wife, but if Kraven had a wife, this would be...
Bronze Badger. Silver Sable. Copper Coyote.
You were super close on the first one.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's not White Tiger. I think I know this kit, but I blocked it out of my memory banks. I really dislike all the animal-themed Street Heroes. They're just really cheap to me.
Yeah.
Fuck. Jackal. I don't know. Tigra. We're going with Tigra was the right answer. Okay, yeah. I quit.
And the last one would be Claw's wife.
There's more of these? Okay. Claw.
Claw's wife?
Yeah.
Wait. Who was the other guy's wife?
Kraven.
Okay. I thought that Kraven's wife was the Claw's wife. I thought that made more sense to me from that's who Kraven would marry. You think Kraven would marry the other chick?
I have no idea from your hint. I can't even picture a person.
Yeah, they were the subject of a 6-part Disney Plus.
Oh, I know this. It's what's her name? Oh, I know this. I definitely know this. It's Echo.
Yeah.
There we go.
Echo.
Yeah.
See, Claw Echoes? Echo?
No, yeah, I got the connection after you said the Disney Plus thing.
So I don't know. I knew Ronin had been quasi-spoiled, but I don't know that I had ever seen Echo or Tigra before.
Yeah.
Who the fuck is Ronin? Oh, Ronin from the show Ronin. I get it. Okay.
Oh, that's who that is. I was thrown off because he looks like Sub-Zero and he's got a sword.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess he had a sword in the show too.
I thought you meant, yeah, because that's actually Ronan. But as soon as you said Ronan, I went to Kree Ronan, and I was like, who the fuck looks like Ronan?
Oh. Got it. So all of those characters are coming to a store near you in June of 2025, along with an X-Men starter pack available in October. That is a repackaging of old heroes.
I'll definitely order a ton of those. Or two.
As well as a Spider-Foe starter pack and a Midnight Suns starter pack.
If we don't get Fantastic Four news at Adepticon, people might riot. If we go to like 6 years with no F4 and no Doctor Doom, I think there's gonna be a riot. Like, I might actually be in the back of the keynote, and at the end of it, it's like, what the fuck? Like, no Doom? Oh, we could bring Rotten Tomatoes. Oh, that'd be great.
Yeah.
I'm not inciting a riot across state lines. That is not my intent. I have to state that for legal reasons. Okay, well, that was fun news. I am way more excited now than I was before the news.
Good.
Yeah. Boom.
Okay. So currently playing MCP-wise, what are you guys playing right now? I'll go first if you guys want.
Mm-hmm.
Please.
I am still playing my Go Wide as Guardians. I've not gotten a game in the last couple weeks because it's been busy and or slow, depending on the week. But yeah, we've had a lot of bad weather and stuff, so there hasn't been many people playing. But I very much liked my list at the tournament. I had a lot of fun with the aggressiveness of the list, because I like that we put in Zemo, Ant-Man, Sif, Valkyrie, like all of those people. It's like you're threatening the midline everywhere, and so I'm actually kind of excited to try one of the new missions with it.
Cool.
I've been playing New Mutants. I super love them. I really wish their affiliation had Honey Badger and Colossus in affiliation. Would solve their problems quite a bit.
Really? You think New Mutants have a problem with their affiliation list? That's weird. I've never heard that before.
It's a smidge rough. And then when you take models that synergize with, that's like the whole, it's like you've got these three mutants, and then the leadership makes your splashes work really well, and then but then that's your whole lit. Like, there's just no room to, if just those two models were in affiliation. But
yeah, because let's see what you got. 1 5 3 4s and 4 3s, but you don't. Wait, X-23 is a New Mutant. Who did you say?
Honey Badger.
Oh, sure. I mean, everyone would like to have it too.
Yeah, but Honey Badger, just synergy with her, like, she's worth taking as a splash character because of leadership. Like, if they think they get away, she can, like, pop a 1, get leapfrogged into taunt, or, you're always getting great ankle biters with her. She's
sure, but I mean, you
good.
could obviously just play her as a mercenary, but
yes, but then you're using a 2 to splash.
What's your affiliated 3 that you usually go with?
My affiliated 3s are usually X-23 Magic, and then Sunspot is pretty common, and then so sometimes I'm playing a 10-point base, but Iceman's not affiliated. Kitty Pryde, Warlock are like the 3 threats that I'm most fighting to put in. Well,
I mean, that's pretty much everybody, right?
Yeah.
So also one of those 3 4s I named is the other Emma Frost, and so that doesn't really count. So they really only have 7 affiliated models, which is incredibly low. I'm pretty sure that Winter Guard have noticeably more than that at this point.
Yep.
Not noticeably more. They have the same amount, but they have a 2-pointer and 4 4s. Oof. And Darkstar is on that list.
Yeah.
So, but I think if you were to compare just Winter Guard and New Mutants side by side, I think a lot of people would agree that Winter Guard actually has the better stable of affiliated models.
Mm-hmm. I mean, they have Black Widow now, so it's like, yeah.
Yeah, Black Widow is a big part of that. And I think a lot of the Winter Guard models are underrated. Like Omega Red, Ursa Major, Winter Soldier 2, I think are all underrated. And Red Guardian is, I think, noticeably underrated. He's a solid 3.
Yeah, Red Guardian's great.
He's obviously not a beater, but he does a lot of stuff.
I mean, that was the first, like, I think 2 years ago at Adepticon, there was a guy playing Winter Guard who he played like 5-1 or something, and that was essentially his list, was Red Guardian, Black Widow, and Crimson Dynamo, and then like splashing Beta Ray Bill
good
or
models.
whatever. Yeah, good models. Yeah. And it was a great core. You couldn't go wrong. It was fine.
Yeah, because it's just hard to attack, right? Like, it's good defense everywhere.
Yep.
It's like it's hard to get at it. But yeah, obviously it's going to be difficult when there's affiliations like Avengers running around that have like 30 plus models in them basically, and they have double your affiliation in A-list characters, right? Like there's like 14 A-listers in Avengers, and you're like, I have 3. You're like, it's gonna be hard to compete there, and that's one of the things I dislike about them having these really big affiliations. So, anything else about your New Mutants?
No, other than I'll revisit the Poison Train. The Poison Engine. Don't get too cute. Just manipulate people's action economy by like diverting their attacks into things they don't want to attack. And bringing guys into the fight. Like I was trying to do this like Poison Engine that I would cause a lot of like AoE damage and stuff. And it's just too janky and slow. And then you play against an Apocalypse player like one time, and their engine is so much better and dumber. Or like anybody, like you could play Web Warriors and they're playing Abomination, and they just immediately outclass you in every way with just like a model. It's like, okay, never mind, just stop that. Don't get too cute. Just take like Luke Cage. Luke Cage is fine. Like if you take Luke Cage and like a good splash, like a good offense splash, you are gonna have a much better time. But yeah, anyways.
Have you experimented a lot with like Omega Red or Abomination?
I've experimented with Omega Red pretty extensively, and it's not bad, but often what ends up happening, especially in scenario play, but I don't know, I want to say especially in the new scenarios, but that's probably not true. I think the old scenarios are kind of the same. He's just zoinking everybody all over the place, and so like you don't have time to poison. You're too busy trying to get water out of bucket the water out of the boat, getting people either off points or onto points to be bothering with the stupid poison crap. But I do love that he heals. His kit is great. He's a great joint effort abuser. Like you can have some great like joint effort, because that's the other thing is like if you're a New Mutants player, you're taking joint effort. It's such a free roll card, and so you'll be like mid game and you're just like, why don't I just spend her with Omega Red joint effort, like whatever, and you'll have some sort of busted joint effort attack that's like 32 dice, whatever. It's basically like a Helios laser in New Mutants, but. Yeah, I don't know, but Omega Red's got to get out of there. He's a little under the curve from the new stuff, so I'll try Abomination. That'll be my next slotted. Also, Sunspot. Sunspot's great. Like, just play him.
Yeah, one of our locals really likes Sunspot, and he's gotten a lot of good work out of him.
Yeah, that guy's cracked. He's way better than Bishop. And I actually am so triggered by people who are saying Bishop. Like, I'm seeing these tier lists come out on YouTube, and Bishop's like S tier or whatever. It's like, what is happening? What game
he's really good about making 1 12-die attack and dying.
Yeah.
Aaron, what have you been playing most recently in MCP?
Most recently is Hellfire Club, before the changes. I haven't played since then. Although I do want to talk about it because it was during the last tournament we had, and I ended up taking first with some luck, but the star of the show, and the reason I ran the list to begin with, was because I wanted to try Black Swan and Hellfire, and I think I fell in love.
Ooh.
I've wanted to play an offensive version of Hellfire for a long time, and so I finally kind of pulled the trigger, and I had an absolute blast. The entire theme of the list was obviously Emma, and then 2 4s who love extra power. For the most part, I ran with Rogue and Black Swan. And then 2 3s that were relatively tanky and could hold objectives. I think I had Lizard, Groot, and someone else. It might have been Luke Cage, but I don't think it was. Anyway, like the entire concept was the 3s grab these stuff and the 4s just dive their extract holders. And Black Swan with the extra power from leadership did not hurt. Again, like I said, a little lucky that she went off usually pretty early in the games to give her a bunch of power, which meant she could spend to turn opponents' wilds into nothings. So then she became pretty good on defense as well. Anyway, I absolutely love the list concept, and I think the entire concept works in new Hellfire. Not quite as good as it did, but got to figure out exactly what that list would be. But running, like I said, defensive 3s, offensive 4s, and just going to town is something I would like to continue to try.
You're running Black Swan with no stone, right?
Correct.
Just as a 4.
Yep.
Cool. Well, good luck. Do you think the restriction of normal affiliation rules is going to affect you very much?
What do you mean?
For Hellfire Club?
Restriction of normal...
Because you have to play like affiliated now, right?
Yes.
Like normal affiliated. Do you think that's going to hurt the list a lot?
Give me 1 second, and I'll answer you. I am trying to look up.
I think it will, just because Hellfire. It's literally like the who's who of why are we doing
Well, yeah, it's clearly worse, right? Because one is unrestricted, one's restricted. But it's... I'd say the biggest issue is there's only 2 3s on this. It's just Angel and Storm.
So yeah, that kind of hurts that plan really, really poorly.
But you have Omega Red? And
yeah, but I need the 3s. I need cheap 3s.
Yeah.
Taskmaster's not a bad one as a rogue agent.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And Storm is a very legitimate 3-pointer. And a lot of people I don't think respect that. But I think she's a very fine 3. She's not tanky, exceptional.
Though. Yeah, she's not someone I double move to the middle.
That is true, 100%. But she's got stuff, right?
Yeah,
that concept is clearly different.
Yep, I'm glad I got to enjoy it once. Dream is dead.
Yeah. How does it feel to have AMG come after you with a knife?
Man, just when I was doing something fucking different. Son of a bitch.
I know, right? It's like, hey, I finally came up with this cool new thing I came up with. Nobody else is playing. I like it. It's fun. And then they just stab it in the back. And you're like, why? Like, it wasn't hurting anybody.
I will take one for the team on that one. Like, I really don't mind.
Mm-hmm. Right, at least your thing was, like, good on its own. And you were doing, like, a bastardized version of it that was fun, as opposed to powerful.
Here's the thing.
I mean, it was both. Mm-hmm. But yeah.
Just play Dracula.
I have played Dracula. Why should I play Dracula again? Explain.
Well, can't you... Doesn't his leadership rope everybody in?
But the leadership doesn't do what he needs it to do.
Yeah, I needed to give extra power to Black Swan. Yeah. Giving Black Swan 2 extra power effectively on turn 2... You know, from the one she got turn 1 plus turn 2 was money. Same thing with Rogue.
Just Steve? Because Steve gives you at least a tanky 3 with Luke.
It does not help Black Swan on defense.
True, but it makes her power issues slightly less. I don't think she can use it on her defensive mechanic.
Correct.
Well, you could play Rogue and Black Swan in Xavier X-Men, and then you're still jerking off with tons of extra power.
That does get a lot of power.
Yeah, but then I have to play Professor X.
That's like Emma Frost.
Parker said he was bad, and he's not here to tell me otherwise, so I have to assume Professor X is dog shit. And I shouldn't.
Your tanky 3s are a little different.
You're gonna love Professor X, especially. Granted, you're not healing, but.
So I just want to talk about the list I created real quick, because it wasn't just that was the concept, but the actual list was 9 characters that throw plus Okoye.
Oh.
It was Okoye, Beast, Lizard, Groot, Spectacular Spider-Man, Gwenom, Emma, Black Swan, Rogue, and King T'Challa. Using displacement as a defensive concept. And then that morphed into the play Black Swan every game. After I played her the first game, I had a blast. So yes, I could do something similar with Professor X or Steve 1. You are both not wrong. I have given very little thought to what I want to play in the upcoming tournament. Maybe this is it. We'll see.
And with the Professor X thing, granted, Storm's not tanky, but she definitely falls into the all my models throw, along with Beast and whatever, so you have like all those affiliated.
Yep, her throw is so stupid too. Fucking range 3 throw.
Yeah.
Alright, so next up, Nigel. What do you think of the new missions?
I was excited for them, and then after I've only played like 3 games, I think they're probably crap. I'm not positive, but man.
So just to clarify, what concerns you about how they function? Like, is it they score too much? They're not fun to play with.
They're not fun to play. They're not fun to play with. Okay. They're too high impact. They fudge the game too hard. Like they have the one. So like you have Mayor Fisk. You have like the new Fisk. The new Fisk is like one of the ones that's probably the least egregious of them. But
hold on. Let's. I get it.
Yeah.
What is new Fisk? Let's dial it down a little bit.
Okay.
What is the new Fisk mission? Because we're gonna play a little devil's advocate here.
Well, the thing, I really want
a deadline to destruction. Is that what we're talking about?
No.
It's the wedding party targeted.
We'll get to deadline.
It's just Mayor Fist, but they're further apart, and they don't stun and damage. They lose power instead of stun and damage.
Okay, so we're talking about 20 threat wedding party targeted. Go ahead, Nigel.
Okay.
Nigel, I want you to clarify for people at home, because you could say like cracked and broken and bad and like that. I think we kind of understand what you're saying, but I just want you to clarify what about it do you not like? Like, what is the functionality that you're not liking?
So Wedding Party, Targeted, and Terrible Attack. This is what I like about it is that it's not Mayor Fisk punishing. But what I dislike about it is, it's counterintuitive because when I first saw it, I was excited, like, oh, it's Mayor Fisk but farther apart, so this is going to be actually pretty cool. What I didn't fail to realize is that you're going to be playing this. It's not Mayor Fisk. If you're taking Mayor Fisk, you want to brawl in the middle and then chase those extracts. If you take this as like a replacement for that, this is actually something you might see Web Warriors take. This is actually what it's doing. So if you're an attrition team and you're on Mayor Fisk and you're fighting over the extracts, as soon as you have extract parity or advantage, you basically want to do like a Fisk, Mayor Fisk refuse flank, and you'll basically create a situation where they'll slowly start drifting apart. In this one, since they're already apart and there's no central fight over two secures for the points, the extract advantage basically is going to start separating them, and they're already very separate. So it's going to create a refuse flank almost instantly. In the advantage.
I do 100% agree with you with that. I think this mission is designed to be a refuse flank.
Yeah, and so, the winner of the other one can move it so they could be, your best case scenario is that they're both moving left, but because they're starting so far apart, it's tough. Like they're starting far enough apart that you're chasing your corner cubes or your corner extracts, and then you're gonna have a trouble getting back across to affect. Like I said, you better have your extract advantage.
Well, there is at least a backstop because they're further apart. Like, they can't go directly away from you forever because they're close to the board edge at that point.
Yeah, and so the other one will slowly chase them down. But I mean, that's the case with the other ones. But they start so much closer, they're just moving.
Well, but that's
a two stick to the left together. Like basically.
Yeah, but that's not really how these work. Is because your opponent places the one that you score, and so what they'd effectively be doing is placing yours towards the board edge, and you're placing theirs closer to the middle.
Yeah.
And so if they want to keep contesting it, they have to move to the middle of the board.
Yeah.
And so the way that attrition teams usually play Fisk is you kind of, dogpile one, force the other one towards you, and if they push the other one out the back, they have to go through you to get it.
Yeah.
And so you can force the fight that way. This is still very similar, it's just there's a turn delay.
Yeah, yep. And the game's so fast that, I don't know, that's... Again, this one's probably the least egregious of one. It's just a minor quibble of like, it could have been the same shape as Fist. They could have been that close together, and I think it would have been kind of a fine one, but, maybe not. I don't know.
Aaron, do you have thoughts on this mission?
So my question to Nigel is, do you think it is quote-unquote, I'm going to say bad, even though I think you come down from that to just not great, because you thought it was going to be attrition and it's not? Like, is it fine now that you've realized what the mission is? Or is it still not great?
I think why I'm most excited is it's not an attrition mission, as much as I thought it was. Maybe it is an attrition mission depending on how you change. If your sensibilities are like, like maybe X-Force likes this with a lot of range attacks. Maybe that's like good for them. But it's not good for like defenders aren't going to love it. Or that type of fight, that type of team, or Inhumans necessarily. So. Yeah, but that's basically like Fisk. I want to brawl it. I want to have like a Malekith type team or something to just like go and blast them both. You can own one and contest the other, and then that way that gives you don't have to have extract parity. This one, if you're not watching the extracts, you'll just lose. Like it's which I think some people would be like that's a good thing, but depending on the team you play, so you might not like all the guys who interact with extracts well.
Okay, what's next?
Well, I had follow-ups on this one.
Sure.
I agree with you, Nigel. I think this is the least bad of the new missions in the regard of what you were afraid of, which sounded like the game being overly accelerated by high-scoring missions.
Yeah.
And so this one definitely isn't high-scoring in itself. The problem that I agree with you with on this one is that this is a late-game mission. This mission is not high-impact early, it's high-impact late, when the objectives have either reached the other side of the table or gotten together, or when something has happened, right? Yeah. They forced the engagement. And at that point in the game, it's at least turn 3, maybe turn 4. And so the score of each player is going to be, just on average, it's going to be 12-12 or 16-16. The game's effectively over at that point. and because you guys have scored so many points in your map, it might even be over at the point they get together because they're so far apart. After you move them 3 times, then your opponent's already scored. Because if they have 3 objectives, you just do the math. That's 5 a turn. They have 15 points. How are you going to stop them? Yep. They don't need the blue anymore.
Yep.
And so I agree with that. I think this mission is not the problem. I don't think it fits in a pool of the rest of the missions we have now. Because you're not pairing it with a researcher or a Montesi or an alien ship, probably. You're probably pairing it with one of the 4 or 5 missions.
Yep, exactly. That's the first thing I was like, oh my god, you're going to see this with like the 5. Yeah. I do want to try some text with this, though. One after kind of wrapping my head around it and being like, how do I make this maybe like less frustrating for a team? Is and my windmill or my white whale is Honey Badger's Jonathan the Unstoppable token. So I kind of want to put a Jonathan the Unstoppable token exactly one stick away from the outside, like a 1 stick outside of the token, so that they can't push it out. Like, or else Jonathan the Unstoppable gets another turn of contesting it or like scoring it. So it's
what? Hold on, I'm not following.
So if you have those 2 tokens and they're out there, and the scenario player wants to push it out so that it's forcing your team out, you can put a Jonathan the Unstoppable token on the like a 1 stick on the outside.
Range 1 away.
Yeah, range 1 away to the outside, so that if they push it the 2
but then they'll just place it over the top.
Yeah, that's fine.
Because
you're gonna
but you should know more than anyone, Nigel, that because they cut the cardboard tokens with the machine, they're actually 24.6 millimeters, not 25. And so if you actually measure it, you'll just hop over Jonathan.
Well, I mean that might be true, but
also like actually speaking though, like even if it was perfect placement, they only have to go like 2 degrees to the right, and he's not contesting it.
But at least it's going in a bet. You can kind of steer it. It's not the most
2
efficient.
2 degrees is not steering it.
It's not 2 degrees. It's not 2 degrees. It's more than 2 degrees.
Yeah. Well, but it's 2 circles. Like, if it's not in a perfect line, it's not in range. But what you could do, I don't know how Jonathan works. Can you just place it anywhere? Mm-hmm. Does it have to be contesting?
You can place it anywhere.
Okay, so then you could just place it range 2 away, and then there's a large area you can't put the token down. And so that actually, I think, is very useful.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, and being able to get value out of that stupid token in a weird way, is intriguing to me. Granted,
but it's 2 points for Honey Badger who doesn't contest, and then you're also paying a tactics card.
In this case, she does contest, and you are paying a tactics card. But the thing is, you're playing New Mutants, so you have Honey Badger. She puts the tokens down. You need her to somehow get power, which is another problem. But
that's what I'm saying though. Because you're spending the power off of her, so she's empty on turn 2, and she's out of position to attack, so she's double moving, still with no power.
Yeah, so you really need to somehow solve the power crisis because if
so
she can
on turn 4, when the mission becomes live, she'll get to bodyguard once.
Well, she can do it on 2, and then the big one is if somehow she can take a stray shot or something, because she can use the leadership to reposition away from the token all the way across field, which is nice.
Well, not on turn 2 she can't.
Not on turn 2 because she'll be empty. Yeah. So yeah, exactly. I need one more.
So on turn 5 she'll be able to bodyguard.
So look, you take her and Wong. Wong fuels her.
Oh god.
Yeah.
Couldn't we just buy a 4-point model that does contest to fix this problem?
I don't know. I don't know.
All right. I think we're in agreement that we both like this mission.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Which mission would you like to talk about next?
Let's talk about one I really thought I was going to like this mission, and it was just absolute cancer. I was not prepared for how dumb it was. Deadline to Destruction.
Oh no!
Oh yeah!
Oh no!
Huh?
Did you listen to our episode last week?
No.
This was our favorite mission across the board.
Oh my god, no! This is so toxic.
So toxic.
So unbelievably toxic. This is awful. I played this on the Terrigen canisters, and so it was Deadline Destruction Terrigen because we wanted to play both the new things and the two.
Hold on, let me refresh myself on that.
The two combined was, it could have been cubes.
Oh, it's the gives you poison if you fail to roll. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my god, holy crap! This was just the worst.
But they're just giving you power back.
Okay, but here's the problem: is it's like Extremis, so they can literally just machine gun you down if they can run the bases. And if you're in a weird spot, like if you're between the two nodes, you might get like double machine gun. Like you could have guys touching one, shooting you, going to the next one, shooting you. So you just have to drop the token. You're like, okay, I see where this is going. Just drop the token. Jesus Christ. So it's like everybody becomes a de facto.
We talked about this exact thing.
Oh my God, it's so annoying. And then you're getting like in the other. Well, we'll get into the Terrigen thing. It's so much damage in such a crappy way, and I don't know who it's supposed to be benefiting. Like I was playing the attrition team, and it ended up being the Web Warrior player was the beatdown because
they're just like downing Cable with objective tokens.
Yeah, well, I mean, it was like Kitty Pryde or other people. Like all of my objective runners were just absolutely running for their lives and constantly, and like and the weird part is that like the Web Warrior players, because they can do whatever they want whenever they want, you shoot them and they just drop it because they're just gonna steal it from you and take it back or whatever. Like they don't care. So it's like they literally have no reason to hold it. So it's such an unfair situation.
So I have a question. Because I haven't gotten to play this one yet. Due to the geometry of the mission, did you see if a small base medium move model can walk from one secure to another?
Yeah.
Are they that close?
Yeah, they're that close. Yeah.
Okay.
It's kind of like Sword. You have to be on the inside. Yeah. Inside to inside. You couldn't go token to token.
And then the other question is, if somebody double moves to the middle to pick up the middle extract on an F or a C, does that mean they're in range of at least 3 of the destruction nodes?
I believe not, no. I believe if you're dead center on that token, but there's a good chance you'll be next to one of them, like too close to something.
Okay. So you'll probably be in range of 1 or 2, but not like 3. Okay.
For me, it was just 1. Like the front and back one couldn't get him, but he was like on the middle, leaning one way, which is far enough to not get the other opposite side one.
Because according to my math, it should be a range 4 ruler, which is 8 inches, and then minus a half inch for the space of the objective. So they're 7.5 inches from the center line, or the objective points. So the 7.5 inches is obviously longer than a medium, but range 3 off of those, though, puts you at 1.5 inches of neutral zone to each side of the center. Yeah. So it's a 3-inch circle in the middle of the board that you can't get hit.
Yeah.
If my math is right.
And yeah, he had his abomination took the centerpiece, and I was able to get him with 1, and then I hit him with like 1, and then as soon as I hit him with the second one, he dropped the token or whatever. It was like he realized that like I was going to run my base and just hit him like 4 times.
The secret tech I said was just take Juggernaut and just have him ignore all the damage. Because it says suffers damage and gains a power, and it doesn't say and then gains a power.
Does Juggernaut ignore...
So I think you just ignored the damage.
And Juggernaut...
as long as you had a power to start.
It doesn't have to be from an enemy effect, he just ignores...
No, it's any damage source. He can stop bleed.
Okay.
And so Juggernaut's the secret tech on this mission. And you're just like, yeah, I'll just stay here forever and just not take damage from any
Does Juggernaut pay to do it?
Yeah, it's pay 1, but it says take a damage and gain a power. So he just gets refund on the power. Yeah, and he just says, I'm immune to deadline as long as I had power when you chose me.
Well, that is a consideration. That's a thought. And then you're playing kind of in the attritions scenario.
Yeah. And he could just run laps, triggering all of them on his turn.
Things, yeah.
Yeah. It's going to be super funny.
So, and then when I played it into a Web Warrior player who was like, do you mind if we try the Terrigen canisters? Because I want to try it. And I want to see if it's good for my team for the second win team tournament or whatever. And I was like, cool, and I just like walked in this like absolutely, it was the two combined. It was like, I'm getting poisoned. He's playing Abomination and Miss Marvel. That's like his splash characters in his web list. And she's immune to poison. He's immune to poison. I had Warlock who's immune to poison and Cable immune to poison or something. So I was like, I had a little bit of it, but like,
I really don't think the poison matters. I mean, it does matter, but I don't think it's like a defining characteristic.
When everybody's shooting you for holding an objective, and then Abomination comes up and blows up the table because all your guys are poisoned, it's pretty tilting. It's like
you shouldn't have everyone be poisoned. Though. You roll your physical defense.
You roll your phys defense. It was always a 3. I always failed it. Every single person that touched an objective got poisoned.
It's a 25% per die. You have like a 65 or 70% chance of making the roll.
Well,
like, I mean, obviously RNG is a thing. You get unlucky.
In this game,
you also get lucky and not get it.
Yeah, that did not happen. I would rather it just not be a thing on their card. Stop getting poisoned. That's stupid. I don't care about the RNG was so unfair. Also, they didn't like they're picking up with poison immune models. I think I picked one up with Warlock once, and that was cool.
So obviously your opponent had characters specifically that took advantage of poison.
Yep.
And so that's not the same as just regular getting poison.
Yeah, and that was like Miss
power.
Marvel was a disaster. Yeah. She like punched me, and then she moved me like she moved me into that shortstop position between the two bases. So now I'm getting double pinged by like two different bases. It's like, oh, okay, I'll just drop the token, I guess. Like, anytime you're getting forced into that situation was like a disaster.
All right, so let's circle back to Deadline real quick and finish talking about that. Now, do you think that the fact that you didn't like Deadline was a compounded fact of, A, the missions interacting together in a way you didn't expect, and the other one was you having a...
This was a one where I went into it thinking, like, oh, attrition's going to love this because it's just like a little bit of extra damage here and there. No. It's the other guys who get the advantage. Web Warriors love this way more than you're going to love it, period.
I think that's true, first off, but I think it's also mostly true because you went in assuming it helped the fighty list, and it doesn't. It helps the list that is holding the fewest number of extracts. And so if you, in the early game, that should be a fairly even distribution. It's not until they start stealing from you that it's lopsided. Mm-hmm. And they also don't want to attack you. You want to attack them, so they're spending their power differently than you are.
It also gives a team that's wider than you an advantage. If they're 7 wide 100%. Against you 6 wide, you're taking more damage, even if you have less. Like, there's so many situations where it's like, it's just too high impact. It's like, can we cool it the F down? Like on... I don't need this scenario doing like 8 damage a turn. It gets crazy.
That's what I'm saying, though. But maybe you walk into this mission with a different mindset. If you just assumed it was going to help you and maybe didn't have a specific plan on how to interact with the mission itself, this might not be as bad the next time around. It might have just been that you went in with a incorrect or flawed plan that you weren't able to take advantage of the
it might have been that early. And MCP is definitely not the game that you get to like learn your lesson and then recover. Like it's not that whatever. Like the game's over if you walk onto the rake. But it was still like we still played it out, and it was like even after I made the adjustment, I was like, I mean, I don't even think it was that fun. Like when the parity was the same, it was still just like I'm doing 3 damage to him, he's doing 3 to me, like or vice versa, unless we're dropping the tokens or. And again, once he had the advantage, that was the other thing about it, the play pattern that was weird, was that once he was up by like 3 or 4, he didn't have to hold them anymore because he could just coast on, he could just coast to the finish line at that point. Because you're dropping yours too. Like you're forcing so much pressure on each other that eventually everybody starts dropping him because it's just like you're going to start losing models. It was like really tough. But yeah,
I still have hope for this mission. I think you just have to go in like understanding it's like I can only pick these up with people that can survive, and I can only pick them up if I'm only in range of 1, and I can the goal is to get out as quickly as possible.
The Juggernaut tech is a neat idea. I don't like this was the overarching point I was thinking of this is why I was sour about all of them, and when I walked out of the game store was I really felt for the first time that my list choice, the scenarios were demanding list choices, like list consideration. I couldn't just like fuck around and take what I like or make a balanced list, like an air quotes balanced list. I had to like literally take Abomination or Juggernaut's a good idea, Miss Marvel. Like there's just specific things, and that's just for this one crisis or whatever, for Terrigen canisters or whatever. For this one, you probably just want like base rounders or people who heal. Like obviously.
Obviously having like Wong in the background really changes the metric because you can just walk up and heal all the damage.
Or Wolverine,
or take off the poison. Yeah. Like you would have more options. Yeah, I think this mission again, much like the first Blue, is probably just it was a bad combination of mechanics specifically for your team. And also going in with no experience. Like Mayor Fisk is very much the same thing. You think you know how Mayor Fisk works until you play it 5 times. You're like, this is not the mission I thought it was at all. But it's still a really cool mission that I like playing.
And
it's just not
Mayor Fisk is a weird one because I always had I just always happened to have 2 stun immune characters who healed that I liked, like Wolverine and whatever.
Yeah, it makes it way better.
Yeah, it makes it way better. So here I am, I'm kind of accidentally walking into a situation. It's like, that was just a good crisis for me because of the models I liked. But now I'm I want to go out of my way to take models I wouldn't normally take.
Yeah, I think that is a knee-jerk reaction to a random event. Because I think we can all agree, anyone who plays MCP for a decent amount of time, there's sometimes just things are out of your control, and you just have to accept that. And, sometimes, the boulder starts rolling and there's no chance to stop it, even though you made no mistakes. And you can look at the outcome of a game, and it's like, I've beaten people 20-0 at, like, Bug Eater. 2 games in a row, I won 20-0. The closest 2 games I played all weekend were 20-0. And it's just like, you can't look at the outcome and necessarily say that's how things went, because it's like we just happened to pull 2 all-or-nothing missions in both rounds. And every single game came down to the final roll of a turn was a 5-0 swing. And it was just like, well, that just sucks for the other guy. And it could have easily just gone the other way, and I could have lost 0-20.
Yeah.
And so, like, when your opponent has poison tech, and you fail all your poison rolls, which is not likely either, and you get these 2 missions together, and, like, just shit goes against you, it's going to go against you. It's just how it goes.
I still can't get over, like, even if you compare it to, like, Demons Downtown. Like, Demons was a lamented one because it was, like, because of the impact. It's like, it's just maybe too much impact, like, having your guys constantly being incinerated, being dazed and waking up incinerated. It was just, like, toxic. It's like, man, it just sucks to, like, be having the scenario have so much of a say in how screwed you are, This is just another one of those. It's like, Jesus, dudes. It's so. You think about like Extremis. It's like Extremis is almost the opposite way. It can be frustrating and annoying when they have tanky models like Apex Predator healing all the time. All of your guys are rounding the bases to rebuild. Anybody left on the MCP special or whatever. But that's nothing. All of those are small potatoes compared to what this thing's going to be doing. I mean, trust me, it's going to be a lot of damage all the time.
Extremis definitely accentuated, like, dice luck, too, because it was like, oh, my guy lived on 1, and I have 3 people over here, and you just activated your last model, and you're just like, oh, no, like, all the work I just did is undone.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna die. As where if I just done 1 more damage with my attack, which I have 0 control over, then you would just be dead, and I would heal. Like, and it's just totally different, right? Yeah. And so it just sucks.
But I think just the principle of a secure, I think I like the idea of Extremis more because it's just kind of it feels like a secure things that give you an advantage, not disadvantage or whatever. And also, again, just, this doesn't help CGR, right? Like, he can't interact with them anyways, but, like, CGR doesn't care. If you do that much damage, you don't care. This is helping people this helps Wong. Wong all of a sudden becomes an offensive threat. He could walk 2 points and just spend 2 power and do 2 damage, or he becomes bullseye twice. It helps that model more than other. So it's like, it does. You think it, you see it, and you're like, oh, more damage, awesome. Let's get more action. And then when you play it, you're like, oh, okay, it's just maybe too much.
I think there's a huge misconception that it just helps the attrition team. Yeah. It helps the numerous team without extracts, or a team that can affect positioning, which is, guess what, webs. And so you're like, oh, look, I have 7 wide webs at 20, and, like, I'm dragging your people into range of multiple of these fucking canisters every turn, and you're just like, oh my god. I think there was a strong attempt to make a lot of these missions more fighting focused as opposed to just standing around. And I'm curious to see how well that comes off. So far, it seems like you have not had that experience.
That was the other thing, is that you don't have to be anywhere near these things. I mean, you have to be within a 3-stick. It's so crazy. It's like, I had guys who were just like, were actually kind of staying out of it a bit, and they were still getting, it's like, oh my god, like, especially because, like, he would drop it and he would send it out to the corner, and I'd go out and get it, and I'm still a 3-stick from his back point or something. He's like, what the F? So then I have to drop it. Oh my god, it's so stupid.
Nigel, I love you, man. And I really don't want this to come off as negative comment. But this dude dog walked you.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
every story you tell me is like, I walked right into this rake, and then I walked into the other rake behind the rake.
You just drop it, but you're like, what are we doing here? Like, what is the point of this scenario?
Why didn't you drop them? You're over here just getting stabbed in the stomach. Like, I'm not letting go of the
I was dropping them constantly, but, when he's up, like, 12-8, it's like, well, and he's playing web, so he's just pushing you and pulling you off and stuff. It's like, it's like I can have this slow death, and I didn't have, like, alpha, the big one was the poison pill was the poison. It was like getting all my guys poisoned and then having Abomination just being an absolute terror was like, oh my god, that was just way too much of a combo poo-poo platter. Like, if it was cubes probably would have been more fair across the board, because it's like,
oh sure,
everybody's taking the same damage, getting the same power, and we're shooting each other, and he can still drop. We're still dropping it, but it's like nobody's getting absolutely power punished for picking something up and then it's sticking with them until they daze.
So, Aaron, do you have any thoughts on Deadline of Destruction?
Not Anything further than what you guys have been talking about?
On your trash scale, how wrong is Nigel? Is it a 9 out of 20? Wait, how's your scale work again? I give it a 9 on Aaron's trash scale, which is, I think, a 9.5 on a normal scale.
I'm going to give it a straight 0. He might be right. I don't know here yet. I think the most interesting thing he said was that these missions make you pick specific people, and he doesn't like it. And so I thought, well, shouldn't missions kind of do that? Because otherwise, you're just playing over random bottle caps.
Mm-hmm.
These bottle caps mean things.
I definitely think it should play a role in who you select in your team. Now, if Nigel was right, which I strongly believe he's not, that being immune to poison determines who's good on a mission or not, I'm very against that. I don't think that's the case. I think it's a little bit of hyperbole combined with his specific experience.
I want to say a caveat. I think a scenario that forces you to take certain models is perfectly okay if every affiliation has access to a model of that particular resource. Yeah.
So, it depends on what we're talking about. If it's like, hey, this is going to encourage you to take tanky models or a wide roster or, models that have a higher speed or lots of different things. Models that have high physical defense. But if you're like, you need to take Black Panther 3 or you can't play this mission, we're not talking about the same thing at all, right?
Yeah.
Like, we can all agree that having completely busted models that exploit missions is not okay. Like, old Wakandan herbs was like, well, did you bring Juggernaut and Doctor Strange? Because you lose if not. And we're like, that's clearly not what we're going for. Yeah. But if you're like, hey, yeah, you need to bring models that can survive because it's a quadruple centerline mission. And you're like, okay, well, I have to have a plan for that. I think we can all agree that's not a terrible thing.
Yeah, I have to go look at. I'm pulling up Abomination's card because it's like, is that a factor too? Is Abomination broken? Like,
yeah, exactly.
Because he also could have been just so far ahead of the curve. Yeah, of course he pushes. That was the other thing too. Is like, it's already Webs. It's already Miles, Amazing Spider-Man.
I just love that. If you had paid me $1 million to guess what Nigel was going to have a problem with, his A-bomb and Webs would never have crossed my mind.
Oh, it was a disaster because he's just doing what they want to do anyways, and
Would you say it was an abomination?
Yeah, it was. It was. Holy crap!
Jesus Christ!
And Miss Marvel, I can't complain about Miss Marvel because like that was the part I thought was clever. It's like I can't even be mad.
He's reading so many just models that everybody assumes is terrible. He's like, I don't know how you're supposed to deal with this.
No one in the world except for you, Brandon, thinks Miss Marvel's terrible.
Not Miss Marvel, but I mean, like, Abomination is definitely not topping the meta charts right now.
I think he's gonna.
He's gonna? Okay.
I think he's extremely tough. He's all over the place. He dumps in your face, and he's just super annoying all the time. Like, no, he's annoying as hell.
When it comes to the Terrigen canisters, I do think this mission, much like Deadline for you, is dramatically misunderstood by most people. I think everyone reads this and goes, okay, Webs are going to hate this mission because it makes you slow and it gives you poison, and that's like two things they really don't like. But it doesn't matter, it's an F-secure, or an F-extract, like that they like it. And it, as you just saw, like, it actually ends up benefiting them in a lot of ways. Like, hey, guess what? You can't chase me because you're also speed short.
Yeah.
Like, if I can get a place like, oh, Spider-Woman, I glide. Black Cat, I place too. It's like, I have web swings. Like, turns out their whole list is actually not speed short. They're actually running laps around you, and you can't catch them. It's like, I don't think people understand what this is actually going to mean. I think this is going to be like Spider Portals, where people think it's bad, but it's actually amazing.
Spider Portals was always horrible. What are you talking about?
It's a terrible mechanic, but Web Warriors players play them because they think Ds are worth it. And I disagree, but they have an argument. Yeah, because they're going to have a safe grabber for the midline. They don't care that Peter's speed short. They don't even care if he gets poisoned, honestly. Like, he's going to run up, grab the middle, and they're going to take the two backs, and then hold some secures, and they're going to score 5-4, and they're going to be completely happy with that. And then they'll be even more happy when half your list is poisoned. All right, Nigel, did you have any other missions you want to talk about?
Those were the only 3. And then otherwise, I just played on old ones. But those were the ones where I'm like, oh man, like.
Okay, so like, you've only played on 3 of the new ones.
Yeah.
You haven't played any of the other ones.
And just their batting is 0 in terms of like that was fun. that was a positive ad. So
I think you actually, based on your own recollection, I don't think you actually disliked Wedding Party. I think you did like it. You just didn't like that it combined with another new mission.
And I'm also just neutral on it. It's fine. Yeah, so that one's fine. I think I prefer them be a little closer, but like, yeah.
Yeah, and I would highly encourage you to try Deadline again. See, because it might have just been a bad all around experience.
And it'd be interesting to see if it how does it work with Montesi or whatever.
Sure, but I don't even think it's going to take Montesi. I think it's just like you were playing against Webbs. Webbs is already a miserable game half the time, and then you also pulled an F extract on top of it. And then, he's also, pain training you with fucking Abomination somehow. Mm-hmm. It's that's just, when all your guys get fucking poisoned, you're I have no power and I'm getting beat up. This is stupid. Mm-hmm. And so that's definitely just a bad experience. And I really want Deadline to be good. It's really, my torch in the darkness. I need Deadline to work.
Yeah.
But maybe you just take as many models that can possibly interact and just don't pick up extracts. Just play Red Skull 2. I'm going to interact with 5 of these a turn.
Yeah, that might be the play.
So many. It's just I'm not picking shit up.
Yeah.
I'm just going to machine gun all your dumbass people. Yeah, the ultimate way to win Deadline of Destruction, just take Red Skull 2 and Juggernaut. Just fuck you.
The Juggernaut tech is cute. I actually am excited to maybe try that. I hate that he's a 5 threat, though. I was oh boy. But
he has to be. He wins missions.
Yeah. Yep, and he's got a good TTC. And
mm-hmm. I actually think he is maybe the best model in the game on this mission. Obviously, no testing. This is hyperbole, but I think he has a lot of gas on that mission. Because he can already lap Ds, but on a scrunched in D, mm-hmm. he's going to go wherever he wants every turn.
Yeah,
and he can he can interact, damage you, slide, bump you, walk, damage you again, and then punch you with 8 dice. Yeah. It's it costs him almost nothing.
Abomination, just because he gets power so quick, he eventually gets to a situation where he's not as fast, but he eventually just gamma bombs his way over somewhere. He's
the problem he has obviously is getting power, right? He's a power hungry model.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's just if he can get his thing going fast enough. But he doesn't even have a builder, right? So it's he's just on a clock. Mm-hmm. Unless you damage him. Obviously, if you attack him, it's totally different.
Yeah.
Did you attack him? Did you give him power?
No, I was just shooting him with the objective.
So you were giving him power. God damn it.
So he's getting it that way.
Guys, I don't know what happened. I just kept attacking the Hulk, and then he killed me.
Yeah. Well, there was enough guys where it forced him. He didn't have to drop it, but it did give him his power start of oh, here we go. Mm-hmm. But otherwise, he just gets to score it for free.
Yeah, all right, so overall, you don't die, so there's a benefit.
Yeah, yeah, there is that.
Overall, I think the standard quo with the new mission pack is going to be the average mission has 8 points of scoring. And I think that's too much for my comfort level. I would like it to be closer to 5 or 6.
Yeah.
Because I just think the games get over so fast. And I want to play what feels like a full tactical game. And I feel like a lot of the time my games feel really decided by turn 3. And I'm not a big fan of that.
Yeah, but that was my game. It was 5-3. That I'm okay, I'm only down 2. Then it was 10-6. Oh, okay, I'm already at this high alert. 15-9. And then at that point, there's
then we're just done. We just shake hands now. There's no point.
Yeah.
But yeah, even at 10-6, it's this game's over. I would have to have a complete sweep on the table basically to get back in the
Correct,
game.
And it was totally over. And when they control everything, and you can't hold objectives to catch back up without being severely punished, and that was such a feels bad. It was oh
yeah,
I literally can't catch up because he can just gun me down with the objectives.
I know people don't have the same feelings about Web Warriors as I do, and I quote this all the time. So I get if people don't feel the same way, but it's you line up against a 6-wise web list at 17, 18 points, and they win prio, and they just walk up, take the middle F, back up with ASM, and you're just okay, so now there's 5-4, and I have no way to interact with that, and if I cross the table with an extract, or wait till turn 3, they just take one of them anyway. Mm-hmm. And so I have no way to change this game plan other than kill their models somehow at distance, and so it's just really frustrating.
You double move and you take theirs. If they're 6 wide, they'll have prio, so you double move away with that model top of 2. You're still down 1, assuming that they dove your back point, but now they have a model on your back point you get to go into.
Yeah, but I mean, we're also assuming that they aren't able to get my guy or maybe get lucky and steal it.
I'm assuming that they're playing webs and not murdering you turn 1. Yes. Just not always accurate. Mm-hmm. But if they dive for yours, which is the appropriate response, then you get to go into them. So it's...
Yeah.
There are things you can do, but anytime you're going second against an FX track is probably a bad thing.
All right, Nigel, any closing thoughts on the new mission pack? Are you still in?
I mean, I'll give it a go, but I'm telling you, like day one of it was like, what are yeah, I just was I had some questions.
Yeah.
Of what
even
what
with everything I've seen, like I just voiced that I'm not a fan of like the style they chose with the new missions. I'm still cautiously optimistic on the new mission pack, and I want to play some games with it.
Mm-hmm. And I can also see their point too of like, for me, I am for missions. I have like Norwegian palette. Like I want like Mayo and like Lutefisk and like just real plain. I don't want too much going on with these things. I don't need to be too complicated. Like I think the distribution of points and the where they are on the table is complicated enough. So like having just these big impact effects as an extrapolation of that is like, like in a lot of ways they're more impactful.
And you
than
mean
the models.
Deadline by that, right?
Or Deadline or the Poison one or whatever, like so whatever the.
I don't feel that Terrigen Canisters is really that crazy. I mean, it's basically scrolls. It has a secondary effect while you're holding one, and there's a die roll when you pick it up for a minor effect.
There probably won't be that big a deal when you're not playing against Abomination, and also every time you pick one up, I think you only get poisoned.
Yeah, you walked face first into the Rake Factory, and I think that was just a bad experience.
On that one, my big beef is I wish that all you need to do is roll a hit. Like, I wish it was very uncommon that you got poisoned. Like, that would make me happier. But they need. I
think you just wanted to not have a secondary effect.
Well, crit wild, you actually have to roll pretty good to get that off. Like,
it's the exact same odds as scrolls, right? It's like almost an 80% if you're a physical 4, and it's like a 65 or 70.
But if you're a Phys 3.
Yeah, but it's still like 65 or 70.
And
like failing one is
scrolls you can fail with a lot of characters and get out of it. Whereas this one, you just get poisoned. You're like, oh, okay.
Well, it's the exact same odds of you being able to shake, right? Like you'll either be immune to poison or shake. There's more characters that are immune to poison that can get out of bad scroll rolls.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the Inhumans, like their entire faction's basically immune.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, there's a decent amount of people that like, hey, I failed it on the back point. It's like, cool, just shake poison. Like, who cares?
Mm-hmm.
Like, it only really matters on the middle one.
Yeah. I mean, I did also get to the point of the game where I was shaking, and that sucked. It's like, oh, I'm getting staggered.
Yeah.
Great.
You were also playing Deadline, though, so you're constantly dropping them and trying to pick them back up, so you're rolling constantly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. At which point, all your people are just keeping poison the whole time.
You're like moving, picking it up, and then shaking, and you're off a point. You're like, oh, great. Mm-hmm. But now you can get pinged to death.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just whatever. It's.
Yeah, I think at that point, obviously, you just move out of range of the thing because you don't want to die.
Mm.
And you just find being poisoned out in the middle of nowhere. But yeah, obviously, there's a lot of testing still.
Yeah, I'm excited for you guys to play it, and definitely play it against each other versus like randos at the store, because you guys should have to suffer it. Like one of you are gonna like it, and one of you are gonna hate it,
all right.
And that's the way it's gonna be every time you play it.
I'm totally fine with this because that means I don't have to play against webs because Aaron's not playing webs.
Mm-hmm.
And if I play against Quinn,
Did I say
I'll
that?
play against webs. If you play webs, I quit. It's your choice.
Pretty sure I said in January if I was going to be serious this year, it was going to be webs. So you're saying you don't want me to be serious.
I think I've played a game more recently than you, which I think means that you're not being very serious about MCP.
I mean, you're not wrong.
But yeah, I'm still pretty excited about several of the new missions. And Deadline of Destruction's gonna be the best, I'm telling you.
Okay, what's one of the missions you're excited about?
Deadline. I actually like Wedding Party a little bit. It's not my favorite. The mission, I said earlier, I was excited to try one of the new missions. It is the weapons that Aaron liked. What is it called? Inhumans Deploy Advanced Weaponry.
Oh yeah,
the 4 extracts on the midline that give you beam attacks.
Yeah,
I want to play my Asgard list on it because I've got 4 people that can charge the middle line on the first turn, and the other one is Mighty Thor, and so I'll just put Mighty Thor up there. She'll pick up 1 and be ready to kill people next turn. And if they come into her, then I'll just countercharge them. And if they go pick ones up early, I'll just charge them as well. And then I will do what Aaron loves, which is move all of my models holding extracts towards the enemy.
Yep.
All right. Nigel, I have a question for you. What is black and cool and stands in a forest?
Black and cool and stands in a forest.
A deer in a leather jacket. No? You guys didn't like that one? Aaron doesn't look very happy.
I think I died on the inside.
All right, hold on. I have to text.
I'm not even sure if that qualifies as a dad joke. That's just.
It's just stupid.
That's like AI generated that.
AI did not generate that. The one thing I am the most excited about the new mission pack, the average point total of missions went up, which I very much like. I like playing more stuff.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that I do like. Other than more webs.
Yeah.
But whatever.
I don't think more points is good for webs necessarily.
Mm-hmm.
It is, because it kind of dilutes the amount of webs they have, right? There's like the 4 really broken ones, in my opinion. And so if you're adding 4 more models, then, that's only half as good.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Well, I think we're going to wrap it up. Thank you, Nigel, for coming on and expressing your terror about the new missions. Mm-hmm. It's always nice to have you, I don't know, what's the term here? Fear-mongering. That's good.
Yeah.
Pontificate.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah.
You guys got to get out there. I'm going to get out there this Friday and relive more nightmares, and then we'll... I
hope so. I hope you come back next week and you're like, it's even worse than I thought, guys. It's going to be great.
Be ready for it. I mean, I am going to go back into the list dojo or whatever and be like,
Just put Abomination and Juggernaut in every squad.
Yeah, exactly. 100%.
New mutants are way better with A-Bomb and Juggernaut.
Yeah. I mean, both of those models are also probably pretty degen with the new mutant leadership. We're just like, oh, can I just redistribute these dudes?
Man. Hey, guys, I got it. We'll play 20 points. I'm going to play Dracula, Red Skull 2, Juggernaut, and A-Bomb. I'm unbeatable.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. Well, hopefully you guys had fun. This has been Brandon.
And Aaron.
And Nigel.
And you've just listened to Nigel's Deadline to Destruction.
So what are we going to call this thing?
I got it. Okay. Incredible, new, fantastic, astonishing, mighty, original, uncanny, sensational podcast.
I'm just going to put down infamous.